I told you my opinion about the Korg Modwave in one of the last videos on this channel. Overall, I found it quite appealing with its interesting sound editing features, the chaos physics, and its rough wavetable sound character. Overall, it reached a Wine&Synths score of 16.33, which was quite okay for an entry-level synth. In my conclusion, I finally suggested some wavetable alternatives that the market has to offer in a similar price range. So these were the Modal Electronics Argon8 and the Hydrasynth Explorer. And so far as one principle of this channel is that I don't like to talk about things I did not try out myself, I arranged this comparison setup. So maybe this might be the right video for you if you are yourself undecided which one of those three compact synths might be the right choice for you. First, I would like to thank Korg, Modal Electronics and especially Steve from ASM's distribution, who sent us the Explorer in less than 48 hours without knowing us and without asking any questions. The intention of this comparison is not to compare each synth by its total number of LFOs or filter algorithms or other boring technical details. My approach is more the one of an electronic dance music producer like you, who just tries out synths to see which role they can possibly play in the studio setup. This is why this comparison is also highly subjective, because every taste is, of course, different. And taste is what matters the most when you are comparing those three folks here, because they all have a totally different character of their own. So let's go back to the Korg first. While I checked out the Argon and the Hydra, Hannes took the Modwave to his studio and produced some pretty cool grooves with it. So now that you tried it out for some days, what are your impressions of the Modwave?
So my impressions, the sound in the mid-range is very strong, but the bass has definitely a lack. So the bass production
Yeah, sometimes it lacks a little bit the oomph in the
so you tried it many hours, but the next point is far too many presets. It is too much. So you can play around 10 hours with the presets, but you never produce a track.
Also, those presets often don't really make sense for the
the presets makes no sense. Yeah, the finishing is more cheap plastic. So what I personally do not like. But it doesn't matter to the sound.
No.
A lot of editing features with endless possibilities, what is very great on the synthesizer. The workflow also with the editor, what is made for that synthesizer, for the computer or Mac, is very, very good and makes it a bit more clear. So what you do. And I like it. Yeah.
Okay, so this is quite a similar impression that I also had with the synthesizer. And I stand by my judgment from the test video. The next candidate I tried out was the Argon8. And this, I can tell you, was a totally different experience. This synth is as heavy as a gold ingot and it feels brutally solid and monolithic. Also, the keyboard is fantastic. It's a neat 37 keys Fatah full-size keypad with aftertouch. So here it's definitely a higher level than the Modwave. The only thing I did not really like were slightly edgy knobs and sometimes slowly reacting endless encoders. The joystick is cool, there's an arpeggiator and a step sequencer is also on board. The interface is clearly structured, the OLED display is bright and clear and sufficient to show all the necessary information. And after powering it up, you can instantly start to browse the roundabout 300 presets. And those are more on the useful side. A lot of nice pads, basses, bells, chimes, glassy sounds, and everything you would expect from a wavetable synth is at the rendezvous. It first reminded me of the old Waldorf Microwave 1 that hang in my rack for many years. And then when I started to check some of the new functions of version 3, I ended up in a realm of string machine-like sounds. The analog drift parameter is a real weapon here. If you are also as much into string machine sounds like me, you will probably like the Argon8. If you listen to my demo song, you will probably hear what I mean. It's got this nice, unprecise voice drift that can give these sounds the final goosebump effect. On the downside, I really had a hard time with the envelopes. I usually start to program some drum sounds on a new synth, to see how it works and to lay down my first demo. In this case, it was not really fun and difficult to operate on target. So maybe the envelopes are simply a bit too slow, in my humble opinion. You know that I like those laser zips and zaps. Also, the output of the stereo out is quite low. But overall, if you don't intend to misuse it as a drum synth, you will get a lot of interesting, characterful wavetable sounds coming out of this machine. In total, I personally clearly prefer the sound of the Argon8 over the Modwave. The Argon is more refined and nuanced, and for me the sound is of a higher grade. Also, the internal effects that come with version 3 are of good quality and highly usable even in arrangements. Add some real analog filters to this machine and some snappy envelopes, and you are more in the range of the UDO Super 6, which is one of my favorites on this channel. Or the Waldorf M, which I unfortunately did not check out yet. Then the next candidate, the Ashun sound machine Hydrasynth Explorer from China. Ni hao and welcome to Wine&Synths. The Hydrasynth had a really big hype when it came out 2 years ago, and it's still doing well, I think. And also, while I was really tempted of buying one when I started to build my new studio, this first version of the Hydrasynth kept my attention, especially because of the polyphonic aftertouch keypad and the touch strip. This machine really sounds good to me. No doubt. But as I am more on the analog side of sounds, I finally ended up with the Matriarch. So this is why I'm especially happy to have this synthesizer here under my hands. The first thing I like is that it takes no space. It's really tiny, but in the same time it feels solid and grown up. And of course, the first thing I tried out was the polyphonic aftertouch to do the real Vangelis. And here we go. If you want to make CS80-like sounds, don't look further, because it's not about the CS sound itself, which is pretty basic in its structure. It's all about how to play it. And this is where polyphonic aftertouch comes into the game. And now imagine playing Descartes' Dream or the mighty Xerxes with polyphonic aftertouch. This is the reason why it's an absolute must-to-have in your studio. With poly aftertouch you can simply unleash a lot of sleeping potential of your existing synths. And also this mini version of polyphonic aftertouch keybed feels really great. It's a little less snug than the Keystep 37 though. And I personally like to play on mini keyboards. When it comes to sound, you won't be disappointed. There's a very entertaining selection of 256 presets that are sufficient to compose cinematic soundtracks for the next dozen of Netflix series, but also a lot of useful basic patches. In the smaller version of the Hydrasynth, there are less control knobs than on the standard ones, but the whole synth engine is still available directly from the surface in the same Oberheim expanderish way. Simply press the function button and you are immediately in the right parameters menu that you can then edit with the 4 surrounding knobs. The number of synth parameters is huge. There are 5 envelopes, 5 LFOs, dozens of filter models and wavetables. To name all this would largely exceed the intended purpose and the length of this video. Because it's also a true parameters graveyard which offers literally any function you might imagine in a modern synthesizer. I'm highly impressed. So in any case, I will keep an eye on the Hydrasynth and would like to dive a little deeper in its synth engine. For now, I'm really astonished what these 3 synths have to offer in this price range. They all dispose of a powerful wavetable, synth engine and a real distinct sound character. So my suggestion would be Modwave. Sound-wise, it's more about the mids and it's the right tool for live techno heads and synthwave rowdies. The Argon8 is more the refined gentleman for a more musical approach, more reminiscent of classic Waldorf synths than the others. Fantastic sound. Hydrasynth. This is the powerhouse of a synth. Don't let you fool by the compact size of the Explorer. Inside, it's still a full-blown Hydrasynth. It should be a must-have for ambitious sound designers, but it also fits in all classic genres of electronic music. This comes at the price of a much more complex sound architecture. In the same time, let's not forget that it's the cheapest synth of the 3, so once more, taste matters most. I hope that this video could give you an idea of what the 3 synths are mainly standing and of course sounding for. What do you think about this new generation of small synths? Leave a comment. And if you like this video, leave us a fat filter sweep by hitting the like button and subscribe to our channel. See you. Peace.